Hey everybody, it's Pete. Good morning. Welcome to a new episode of today's Best Stock Picks. It's Wednesday morning, December 9th, 2020. We got a lot to talk about today. Some really good stock-specific ideas that we've had so far in this very 1/3 part of December. The market just keeps kind of melting higher. We'll talk about that in a second. But just an amazing job this month creating game plans for both day trade and swing trading, which means that you are ready to go before the market opens, ready to go before the week opens, and you know exactly which stocks you're trading, regardless of whether the market's obvious or not, which kind of right now we're kind of just drifting, even though we are trading higher. We're going to talk about in a second the difference between new fresh buying versus there's no sellers. And there's a way that you can tell it's a little nuance in trading where it kind of gives you your aggression level. Like it tells you like how much conviction you should have. There's certain things that should happen when you're doing tape reading. And it's awesome that the market's making new all-time highs. Awesome that we're going higher. But you really need to be on top of why we're going higher and what it means for how many shares you have, how long you plan to hold the trade, as well as how you plan to build that position. Should it be a cash flow trade or should it be something that you're looking to hold for a little bit longer term? And how do you get those shares? That's a big deal too. One of the big epiphanies, one of the big revelations that we have with new members of the boot camp is really the fact that you should not be going into every single trade with, I want 1,000 shares, I'm getting 1,000 shares right now because I'm going to have the perfect spot and it's never going to move against me. That's fantasy island. The smart way to do it, for you to be the smart money, is you work the position as it moves in your favor. We call that getting feedback from the market. And the more it moves in your favor, the more you should have of that stock. But here's the big part that a lot of people just need to learn. There's no other way to put it, which is it's great if you have massive size. And again, massive size is relative to everybody. But if you have big size and it works out right away, awesome. You feel great, right? And it's moving in your favor. All those numbers you calculated in your head of, if I have 1,000 shares here and the stock goes up $20, I buy the bottom, sell when it slows down. I'm going to make $20,000 in 5 days, and then I'm going to quit my job. And don't do that. Really, the better idea and the opposite side of that is the smarter way to trade, the longer term, playing the long game, which is you want to have the least amount of shares if the stock does not do what you said it wanted to do, and you want to have the most shares when it does do exactly what you thought it would do. But we have no idea if we put on a trade A or trade B, exactly the same trade. One of them can go straight up, the other one can go straight down, or at least stop us out, but the same exact thing. So we have no idea. So what our job is to do, our job is to get a head start on a position with the least amount of risk, and then we get feedback from the market. That's when we start to add a little bit more, because the market's saying, not yet on this one, and you take a small loss because you have less shares, or on this one where the market says, yeah, I think I'm ready to go now, and you start to build that position as it moves in your favor. I've seen some very talented traders message me over the last 6 months, frustrated because I'm always right, and I can't make any money. The stock that I was in, I got it, and then I got stopped out, and then it did exactly what I wanted it to do. That's all up here. You have to act and trade like a pro, which means that you have to do what professional traders do. It means you have to do what the smart money does. You have to do what institutions do. They don't go in and be like, I need 5 million. Let's go buy 5 million shares today. It doesn't work that way. You have to watch their footprints of when they're starting to build a position. And there's certain clues on the charts that good tape readers understand. And when you start to stack those clues, that's when you start to add, because they did it for 1 day, then they did it for a week, and then they did it for a month. And you're like, all right, it's obvious. Find a spot and get on. In the course, the Order Flow Masterclass that I teach, it's pick a side, then pick a spot. Too many traders pick a spot first without really saying, is this the right side? And has this side moved too far too fast, where even if it's the right side, it might be too late. We call that the optimal entry. The further away you get from the optimal entry, the greater the chances that you might be right because it's moving in your favor, but you also will probably get stopped out because you didn't buy it at the right time. So although picking a side is the more important part, timing that entry is important as well. So we're actually going to head over to the charts right now. So we're going to give you some, what I believe are some really good ideas today. There are ideas that will be in my personal game plan today. So we're going to take a look at, starting with a headline. We're actually going to take a look at the Wall Street Journal headline. I kind of want to bring up what I had just mentioned before. Futures continue to rise. When we are selling off, we're selling off for basically like an hour or maybe like a half a day. And then we quickly find a bottom. And yesterday, interestingly, again, if you're a tape reader and you understand reading the tape, the SPY ETF looked like it was rolling over and hit this one level that we watch every single day. And bam, support came in. We were calling it on the way down, which is what good traders do. As it's coming in, you start to anticipate. Easily one of the biggest questions that we get in our coaching calls every week is, how do I learn to anticipate my entries? The SPY ETF hit that level and then rocketed up. So what I want to get across here, kind of the point that I just made before about no sellers versus fresh buying. Right now, everybody is making a bet that anticipating, as we've been saying, the market is discounting the economy 3-6 months into the future. It's all headline driven based on vaccine news, while we still have the horrible, horrific pandemic news as far as new cases and unfortunately deaths. But what I want to point out here is this headline is awesome. This is absolutely what's going on. So there's a lack of sellers right now, not necessarily aggressive buyers. Okay, I want to make that clear. And you can tell that here because we're making all-time highs. The last few days, we keep making new all-time highs, and volume is not spiking. It's kind of just staying the same. It's kind of like the status quo right now. In order for us to start sizing up, in order for us to start saying these longer-term ideas, I can feel a little bit more aggressive with as far as the market is concerned, to have that wind behind your back, you need to see it spike a little bit. You need to see it spike and hold. We talked about it a couple of days ago, which is we want to see a move, and then we want to see what's known as holding the bid. That holding the bid means you had that move, and now they're not letting it go down. There's another bid below the market there. So just something to keep in mind. It should not stop you from getting long. It should not stop you from looking at the charts and reading the tape and saying you want to be a buyer. But right now we're in a little bit more stock specific, industry group and sector specific ideas. And again, if you're in the boot camp, you know that we're going 1 month or whatever period of time, a week, 2 weeks, we're finding some great ideas. Now we're going to talk about a couple more. So it's interesting. FEYE, FireEye, a cybersecurity firm, got hacked. So the question is, the stock is down. Do you look to buy this good stock on bad news? Now, I say good stock in a relative way that you can see it was actually close to a breakout level over here. Should you get involved? This is a common idea amongst newer traders or traders that are struggling. You can see the stock is actually down 10%. It's right down here around 14. Do you get involved in this? The smart way to do this, again, very similar to what I just said before, if you like the idea, which as you can see working your way out, there was some smart money buying over the last few weeks where we started to travel higher. We can see 1650 is a resistance level, maybe even 15. So what is the smart play here? It's very tempting to watch the stock drop lower and say now it's a bargain. The smart play is it's not that far away from where it was just previous ready to break out. Let the smart money step back in, say this headline is either really bad or an exaggeration, and then follow their footprints. That's the easier trade here. So I'm personally going to have an alert set for 1552. I'm not going to bottom fish on the way down. I don't need to get the bottom. If and when this turns around and it finds out it was exaggerated, they fixed it, whatever, however you want to interpret this. There's a whole story in here about deep state and other intelligence. I don't want to get into that. But what I do want to say is when the smart money decides where the stock should be, that's when we're going to get involved. So I'm trying to train in a way that, we might not never meet. Hopefully we do. Hopefully you're in the boot camp, but you don't need to guess. Let the smart money step back in and say, okay, this is real and something to be concerned about, or nope, this is a bargain. We're going to start gobbling shares up. Let them show you those footprints. And for me, I'm not going to be convinced. I'm not going to step back in until it gets back over 1550. Another one that we want to talk about is Groupon. This is one that we've been trading pretty actively here in 2020. And you can see that it's been having some pretty nice spikes. And now this is actually the fourth time it's gotten up to this 34, 35 level and paused. You can see the next level is almost double. It's up in that 65 area, 62.50, 65. So we're looking for what we call a fuel candlestick right now, a large body candlestick breaking out of this level. We've paused here at this level, and we need to see some volume. If we see a fuel candlestick closing on the highs with some significant volume, we're going to look to start building a position above this. So this should be in your watch list to start paying attention to. We want to mention a stock from yesterday that we said that we expected saturation, which meant profit taking, and we actually got it yesterday. There's certain levels that your stocks get up to where there's good buying, good buying, good buying, and now you're like what I just mentioned before early in the video about it's the right side, but is it the right time? We called for profit taking yesterday in LAZR. It actually had almost a $11 reversal intraday because of understanding how to read the tape, because of saturation plays. And today we're looking at something very similar. QS was an amazing trade yesterday, and it's up another 35% this morning, but it's not a good day to get involved. The stock just went from 27.50 to 78 in 4 days, if you include today's opening. So again, not necessarily a situation where you don't want to trade the stock. It could be very actively traded where if it meets certain criteria, you can get involved. Yesterday in the boot camp, it was traded pretty actively as a day trade. I personally did not carry it overnight. What I want to point out is that there is optimal entries and then you're chasing price. This is chasing price today, and that's where smart traders start to get frustrated. The opposite of this and what you're actually looking for in QS right now and other stocks that have these kind of parabolic moves. Now, again, if you're long, awesome, great job, but you're up another 35% after being up 31% yesterday. If you're a swing trader like me, you're trading over that 3 to 10 day window. This is where you start to move up your trailing stop like we talked about in LAZR yesterday. And instead of having that stock pull back $11 on you, you're in cash or scaled out of most of it and happy because you took advantage of the price action. The opposite of that, and what you'd actually be looking for to get involved, is this stock. Yesterday, ZS, Brian Carr called it out yesterday. A lot of other members in the community said, yes, awesome, this looks great. This is exactly what we're looking for. So you get these parabolic moves, you get these spikes. You need a spot to manage risk. You need a spot to say, okay, it paused. Now I have a chance to get involved. Yesterday was a great day. And it was a really good, clean follow-through intraday. A little bit of profit taking at the end of the day. But really the key here is don't chase price. Find a spot to manage risk, and that will help you sleep better at night, and it'll also be easier for trade management. Adobe earnings after the close today. Just keep an eye on that today. SFIX, a little bit of a dud yesterday. We expected some follow through. And you can see it's actually opening flat today. So we did not trade it aggressively, if at all, yesterday. There's only little pockets of opportunity, and it didn't do what we wanted it to do. Remember I said at the beginning of the video about game planning? When a stock does what you want, you aggressively trade it. When it doesn't, you scale back and say, okay, not yet. I'm not getting feedback. I don't see those footprints. We'll be looking for follow through today to be looking to buy the stock. PDD was one that we were aggressively trading yesterday. You can see it traded up and through new all-time highs yesterday. Going to be looking for some follow through. So we had a pause with three melted candles. Three melted candles as that pause. We had an energy candlestick, and now we're looking for follow through, looking for the stock to go well bid. Plug is another one that actually traded very well yesterday. Now, the problem with Plug is that it had a parabolic move, broke out. So if you decide to get long Plug today on a little bit lower opening, it needs to be less share size because the optimal entry happened 3 days ago. So remember, that's smart trading. The further away you are from the optimal entry, the more you need to work that order a little bit. FSLY woke up yesterday. It's one that we have actively traded for a while. We stayed away from it when the tape changed over here, and we watched it yesterday. We had our level punch through that level, and it was a really good stock to day trade yesterday. Again, though, this is where the smart money footprints are there. It's not giving us a lot of price action to lean on yet. However, it has started. This is kind of like the start of a potential wave. Yesterday was good. Yesterday was easier to read because it met certain criteria. Today, we're looking for follow through. If we get follow through, you got some room. 120 is the next level up there. So something to keep in the list. VLDR is another one that woke up yesterday, but again, not a lot of price action. So you got to work your way into this position. DocuSign, my gosh, what it did. Very similar to what we were looking for. We were looking for it to pull back trade around yesterday's low. Intraday, we actually did get some opportunities in this area here where we actually called the bottom and we started to build a position. We had our levels that we were watching. It did actually hold the bid. It stayed above the level we were looking for, which warranted holding some shares overnight. But again, it was only one day. It did not close strong. It did not close near the highs like we wanted it to. And you can see it's actually trading a little bit lower, but it's holding that 230 level that we wanted. So we have to monitor that today around that level. Penn, oh my gosh, Penn National Gaming, what a day trade this was yesterday as well. But more importantly to you, if you're not a day trader, we're looking for follow through, punch through to new all-time highs. That is a fuel candlestick. Of course, I want to talk about the vaccine stocks, both Moderna and Pfizer. Again, me personally, I'm not carrying them overnight, but they are making for some really easier stocks to read the tape in during the day. If you're a day trader, some good cash flow trading around that core position. I do want to finish up though, talking about some of the stocks that have been very popular questions that we're getting in both the Top Trading Pro forum as well as investment conversations about the cruise line stocks and the airline stocks. What do we do? Well, I will tell you this, and I'm going to repeat this so that the fundamentals of good trading are always fresh. And that really is, they've already discounted the vaccine news. There's plenty of room to go. But now because these stocks have traveled a decent amount since the beginning of November, when the vaccine headlines started to get louder and louder, they've already bounced a little bit. So these kind of positions, a little bit longer term, like I've been saying, you need to work those positions in pieces and not go in there with all at once. Because one adverse headline brings it back, and what was a good trade now gets shaken out because you had too many shares too soon. They look great. The footprints are starting to form, and we're looking like we're heading in the right direction there. But be smart. This is a little bit longer term play. There's a lot of other factors with the vaccine, the amount of people in hospitals, and those unfortunate numbers that we're getting. So there's a battle there, and build that position, build those positions, and the airlines as well. Similar type of thing. It's not going to happen for 6 months, 3 to 6 months. So make sure that you have your time frame correct there. If you find these videos helpful, I just wanted to say thank you so much for joining me every day. I really appreciate it. If you want to get some updates, please click down and subscribe. That would mean the world to me. And if you want to trade together, you want to get my daily coaching calls and get my entire course, click down below and learn about the boot camp. I really think you'll like it on the other side. Have a great day, everyone. Have a great day.